Can a self-taught software developer like me get a job at a FAANG company? I'll be showing you exactly what I'll be doing in the next 6 months to be able to do just that. Now let's get started. So if you're expecting some super secret or undercover way of getting into these big companies, well, I'm sorry to break it to you, it's just Leetcode. Yes, that's right. For the next 6 months, I'll be grinding Leetcode. And I know what you're thinking. I'm gonna be grinding for 6 months? Is that not too much time? Is that too little time? Well, the only reason I can give you guys is simply that I can. The fact of the matter is, I already have a job that I just started. So I'm in no rush to jump into something else. I still have things to learn at this job, and while I'm in this job, I'll be grinding for the next few months in order to get into one of those big companies. I'll be taking my time every single day, putting a couple hours of work after work, before work, and just trying to do as many problems as I can while having a full-time position. I feel like that's the best way that I'll be able to learn and really retain all the information. You know what they say, proper preparations prevents poor performance. My first step into preparing for these interviews will be just doing the Blind 75. If you're new to Leetcode and just these big companies in general, there's a list of 75 questions that someone has put together that kind of summarizes all of the general questions and categorizes them into certain sections. If you learn the 75 questions, you will have a pretty good idea of what the general concepts you need to know are. So I'll be going through that and just trying to grind through those initially right off the bat. There's one person that I'm really following called Leetcode. And he has a great accumulation of videos and summaries on his website as well that goes through every question on Leetcode, especially the Blind 75. If you don't already know about him, I'd go check out his videos ASAP. So on his website, he has all the questions categorized in their respective data structures and algorithms. The first section, it's arrays and hashing, 2-pointers, sliding window, stacks, and so on and so forth. After finishing all these questions, I'll have a good understanding of the common questions and kind of patterns that are generally given on these Leetcode questions and these interview questions in general. Nico also has his 150 questions that he has posted on his website, and I'll be also going through those. Those are just an expanded version of the Blind 75. So it's Blind 75 plus a few other questions that kind of total 150 questions. So it's just supplementary questions that are really reinforce those patterns. After I have a basic understanding of all these patterns and data structures, I'll be going through each and every one of my weaknesses. So after none, I think I'll have a good idea of what I think I should work a little bit more on, and I'll be going through extra problems on Leetcode and just finding similar problems and continuing to practice and kind of grind through each and every one of those until it's like that for me. After I'm done with all those questions, I'll be going through the company specific Leetcode problems. You can only get this if you have Leetcode Premium, but I feel like it's well worth it since it'll give you some really good insight of what the most frequently asked questions of the company that you most likely want to be working for is. So for example, if you have an interview at Google, you would just filter the results for Google's Leetcode problems and then sort them by the frequency, and then you can just keep grinding that and focus on the upcoming interview you may have. If you're lucky to have an interview by one of these big companies, then you can just practice these days before the interview and have a good head start on the interview. But really, regardless of how many questions you do, you really can't just memorize these problems. You really have to understand the data structures and algorithms that go into each and every one of these problems, and then it should become intuitive. So that's what I'm hoping for, and by the end of it, I feel like I'll have a better idea and give you guys even better advice on how I pretty much learned it. And for the final thing that I'll be using to prepare for these interviews will be the book behind me, Cracking the Coding Interview. So if I reach back and take this book out, it's a pretty thick book, as you can see here. Pretty thick. I don't expect to be going through all of it, but I'll be reviewing this in order to go through some of the weaknesses that I have and just reinforcing some ideas and just reviewing some weaknesses that I may have. So I feel like it'll be a good supplementary education to the preparation I'll be doing for the next few months. Well, that's how I'll be trying to get into these big tech companies. The main point of this channel is to inspire all the self-taught developers out there. I want to show them that it is possible to start from nothing and make it into these big tech companies. I feel like doing that will really motivate you guys and kind of guide you in the right direction and just kind of reinforce the idea that what you're doing isn't wrong and that there's light at the end of the tunnel. If you like this video, please subscribe, hit that like button for the algorithm, and I'll see you next time.